Hey, welcome everybody. Mr. On Demand, man with the master plan to give you the best advice I can on what to buy and where to go and what direction to go in. I'm not going to tell you what to buy per se, but what not to buy. We're going to talk about the RTX 50 series launch here and how it's been a dreadful disaster. This is the worst graphics card launch I have ever seen. There's so many problems with these cards, it's not even funny. Um, and we're not talking about just one issue. We're talking about a whole stream of issues. Let's go ahead and get into this because this is just bad. I mean, I've been watching and I've been waiting for a few weeks for the all the reports to come in. And so we started out with power plug issues again with power cables melting and there being problems with current too much current going through in certain situations. So that is a issue. That is not that bad because they had that issue on the 40 series cards. But that is just a one compounding issue on top of everything else. Nvidia already had an entire generation of cards come out where they should have completely fixed this problem. This shouldn't even be an issue at all. But it gets way worse. Way, 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 way worse. So the graphics cards actually, 5080, 5090, 5070, and there's also talks that maybe in the laptop 50 series as well, that they're missing what's called ropes. To make it really simple for you, they're just missing parts of the processor that should be there, causing the processor not to perform at the speed that it should, meaning that there is faulty manufacturing involved. The chips aren't being made correctly. They're not giving you what you're paying for. You're getting absolutely, totally frauded, right? So there's things you can do to check your computer with CPU-Z, and if you have a 50 series card, and definitely if I had one, I would tell you do that. Make sure, because then you can report it to NVIDIA, get your card replaced, get one that has the proper amount that it's supposed to have in it. It's a hassle to go through, and you shouldn't have to do that when you're paying that much for one of these cards. We're going to go through the next thing. These are just the first two things. If the first power connector wasn't bad enough, that should have never been an issue with the second generation of card. When they had this problem on the last generation, you got this. You got faulty chips that aren't being manufactured correctly. NVIDIA, what the heck are you doing with all your money poured into development and money that you've poured into designing and making these cards? You shouldn't have these kind of issues. Let's take a look at the next issue. So, I mean, when I told you there's a bunch of issues with these cards, and this is the worst launch of any graphics card I've ever seen, I'm not lying. Okay? They launched with seemingly little availability and a mega price tag. So the price was out of reason. Shouldn't have bought them anyway because they were too expensive, even if there wasn't all these problems, but still, they didn't have any supply. How can you be a company worth as much of it as NVIDIA and not make sure that you have your supply chains in place and you have enough supply to meet demand? The reason is they're screwing you over. NVIDIA wants it like this because they want to have an artificial demand. They want to say, oh, we're sold out. Everybody wants these cards so bad. But in reality, they put so little of them out. They created an artificial demand. So they created a supply and demand to where the price is artificially high to make people think that, oh man, when these cards are available, I got to grab them right away. No, you shouldn't grab these cards at all. Again, don't buy these cards. Speak with your pocketbook. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you another thing that is ridiculous about these cards. NVIDIA dropped, let's see, NVIDIA series, they failed to preserve your favorite games from 10 years ago. They dropped the physics support. So what does that mean? A lot of your older games aren't going to play at all or very well. So, I mean, literally, you're buying the best video cards, the most recent revision of video cards out there, but you've got PhysX which has been taken away from the cards. Not to mention, they only way they're getting the performance out of these cards is with artificial fake frame generation from AI. So you're getting artificial fake frame generation that's only working in a select few games that give a really high frame rate. And then you're taking away hundreds of games that needed physics to play properly, and now you can't play them. People are literally putting a second video card in their computers in order to be able to play their games after they bought a brand new card that should be able to handle it. That's just not right. I don't care what world you live in, it's not right. So don't buy these cards. Don't let Nvidia get away with this preposterous, just absolutely crazy stuff. You have to stop. You have to stop buying these cards, everybody, because they are not good. Let's go ahead and talk about another one. So they flat out lied about the 5070 performance during CES. They said it was going to give you 5090 performance. We all knew that that was going to be a little bit BS, that it wasn't going to be quite correct, but it's really not correct. There is nothing, the 5070 is giving you nothing close to 4090 performance at all. And let's not forget the 4090 has PhysX support. Let's talk about another issue that NVIDIA has. Little to no support for drivers on Linux. So if you're a Linux user, forget about it. You better buy an AMD video card, because these cards are trash. Literally trash. They suck. So for Linux, in my opinion. So at the end of the day, all of these issues that I just pointed out, we're not talking about one or two or three issues. We're talking about like a culmination of a whole bunch of issues, including the fact that they were just terrible at manufacturing the video processors for their cards. So they were manufactured in a way that had faulty chips. This is on a whole new level. If you guys continue to buy these cards with this many problems, to buy a crappy product, you're telling NVIDIA that they can get away with screwing you over time and time again. Don't do it. This has been a PSA, public service announcement. You can look into buying other cards. I would buy a used card. I'd go buy a 3090 or a 4090 before I would buy any of the new 50 series cards. Or you could go ahead and buy a new AMD, their new card that hit the market. Or if you're interested in entry level or mid level, there's a bunch of other cards from AMD out there, and from Intel's entry level ARC graphics. But, I'm not going to tell you which ones of those fit in your pocketbook, what's available, and what you should get, because everybody's going to be a little different with what games they play, what games they need to be able to play, what they need to be able to support. So that depends on your system, your machine, and the games you want to play, as far as, or whether you're just getting a card for use for business use, for video editing or whatever that might be. So that depends on the person. Everybody's going to be a little different in that area. But to support NVIDIA on this absolutely atrociously bad launch, in my opinion, to buy any 50 series card with this level of just incompetence, if you do that, you're basically telling the tech world it's okay to fuck you over. Don't do it. Don't do it. I am tired of these companies getting away with stuff like this. I thought the 40 series was a bad launch. I didn't like it, so I didn't really buy into the 40 series. I'm still on 30 series. And my next card's probably going to be a 9070 AMD XTX. That's probably what I'm going to go ahead and purchase. That card is absolutely performing terrific, and I think that's going to be the best card if I want to have good Linux support as well as good Windows support, because I would like to be able to do both if I want to, and you can't with NVIDIA. You just can't. NVIDIA has lost the right to charge what they're charging for these cards. They've lost the right with doing such terribly bad things on a launch like this. And we all got to speak with our pocketbooks. You guys have a great day. Hopefully, this was helpful to you. If it wasn't, then let me know down below in the comments. If it was, leave a thumbs up and let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later.